Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement 2. Super mini mail call. Let's get right into it. This package here comes from Charles in Brookshire, Texas. It says here on the box, stop, do not open this end. Unfortunately, this box got a little crushed in transit. So I will do the other side here, open this side, we'll do that. And we're greeted with what looks like, aha, look at this. Tons of ICs. In fact, look at this. Tons of vintage parts. 1K to 5.6K. Look at these old resistors. This says high voltage Sprague caps. 400 volts DC. Good for repairing things like televisions and monitors and stuff. Electrolytic, low voltage. 100 to 1K resistors, and these are very high wattage ones because they're not very high, but they are high wattage. They're big. High voltage caps. Yeah, look at these Spragues. 250 volts, 200 volts, high wattage resistors. Obviously, Charles used to work on and repair like old vintage equipment here, and up to 100 ohms. You know, this is not a bad way to store stuff, to be honest, in these little snack bags. Oh, memory modules. That's too funny. Some of these are super not vintage. Okay, we'll open this up in a second. High voltage caps, we got more. Lots more. I see 200 volts and up in there. Again, useful for monitors. Large ceramics, so we got some more disc caps there. Over 150K ohm. Large, somewhat high wattage resistors. Next up, we have a nice assortment of chokes. A lot of these are adjustable, or in fact, they all are adjustable. Handy, very handy. I'd need to use my LCR meter to measure those to see what values they are, like, you know, through the range, because they're not marked. LEDs, vintage LEDs there. A whole bunch of diodes. Next up, we have insulators. Okay, one more bag in there. 22K to 150K. All right. And I think that is it. And I don't think I saw a note. No, I'm just looking through the papers that I have spread around my desk here. Definitely no notes. I'm gonna move the camera up to the top. So let's take a look at these chips. I'll try to be quick about it because I know I can drag on and on and on sometimes with this stuff. Alrighty, here are the ICs. Let's start with these. We don't really need to look through these passives. Maybe the LEDs will be fun to look through. So at first glance, I'm seeing 74LS logic here. Well, sort of a mix. So some of the stuff is 74LS logics, like this is 74164, but the date code is 1974. So this is really good if I'm gonna be working on something old and I wanna use like a period correct IC in there, like 19th week of 74. This one here is 1979. We have an old socket. This is like one of those kind of period correct sockets. Cool. 1975, 75. So again, just lots of stuff, 74. Some of this is like CMOS 4000 series logic. So there's like a 4066. I know I've used those chips before and things. 7502, that's 1975, that is. Funny thing is, some of these ICs, like this one right here, it has no label on it. Underside says 2244, but like, I don't know. No way to know what this is even. In the case of not knowing what it is it even worth saving that IC? There's another one right here that has no marking on it. So like if it's, I mean, and even looking at a different angle, there's nothing. There must have been a sticker on there that came off at some point. So there's like no way for me to figure out what this is. Look, has the same 2244 marking on the underside. Yep, they both do. So I have no idea what that could be. If you have any thoughts about what those are with that 2244, maybe put a comment down below. Looking through the rest of this stuff, it's all pretty run-of-the-mill. I mean, lots of 74LS logic. We have a 2732E EPROM, regular EPROM that is, so that's useful. I can program that. Down here we have these two chips here. It's a little washed out on the camera, but these are RCA CDP 1852Ds, and I looked that up right here on my phone. It seems to be a parallel 8-bit mode programmable I/O port IC. I'm not 100% sure what this would be typically used with. It says interfaces directly with the CDP 1800 microprocessors. Okay, I've never worked on anything with that. We have this GI chip here from 1985, or it has 81, but it has an 85 date code. And we look up that part number. Oh yeah, okay, this, I thought this sounded familiar. This is a mask ROM with voice data in it, used with a speech synthesizer chip also made by General Instrument. The versions of the SPO256 differ primarily in the voice data programmed into their mask ROM. Oh, although, wait a second, you know what? I think this is actually the speech chip itself. Is it? Oh, I'm not sure. Here's a sample of the speech. Okay, sounds weird. It contains 59 allophones. I'd be curious to know if anyone's ever used this particular speech chip before in a project that you worked on, especially back in the day. A lot of 8-bit computers had speech synthesizers that used this IC or that family of ICs, so I definitely would be curious to hear about that. Looking at these parts, lots and lots of diodes and things like that. These were these diodes I was talking about. So that is a diode there. I don't remember what kind of diode this is. It's a Motorola MR2001S. Obviously, this is somewhat high current handling compared to like these little glass diodes in here. And then there's also this kind of diode, MR750 from 1975. So I don't know if this is silicon or some other material that makes up this diode. If you are familiar, definitely let me know. Let's see what else we have in here. We have this diode here. Beautiful package here. A0221 looks like. And then we have another type of diode here, and this is sort of in a black package there. Does this have a mark on it? It says, let's see what it says. GE4JA10DX12. GE as in General Electric. Yeah, there's just a whole assortment. Here's another interesting package that I've never seen. It looks like a bug almost. So loads and loads of diodes in there. We have insulators, we have resistors, we have more resistors. We have some memory. Let's just quickly take a look at this. This does not look vintage. At first, I almost thought these were fake when I got the bag. All right, we have a 7812. That's a voltage regulator, 12-volt one, like the one used on a 64. These are going to be 256K. So 256K with parity, and there are 4 of them. So that would have been like on a 1 megabyte Macintosh. And then here we have what? This looks a lot newer. PC2, 2 gigabyte sticks. And then this is 1 gigabyte DDR2, so PC2 as well. So yeah, 1 and 2 gigs DDR2. So I don't even know. I forgot what this goes in. I had one of those computers back in the day. I kind of blocked it out of my memory. That vintage of computer is not really interesting to me. Not saying it's not interesting to nobody, it's just not interesting to me. Got a couple more voltage regulators here. They both look like 7812s, 12-volt regulators. In fact, to be honest, doesn't this look kind of like it came off a Commodore 64? Isn't this the heatsink style that's used on the 64? I think it is. Look at that. Look at that. Does that heatsink look familiar? Kind of looks the same, doesn't it? Thing is, on the 64, this is the 7805, but what's stuck on this one is a 7812. That's the 7812 right there. It doesn't even use a heatsink because there's not a lot of current draw on it. We have another pack of resistors there. There are those vintage chokes. We have ceramics. These are those high voltage caps and Sprague caps. Please let me know in the comment section if you think these are reliable enough for me to still use. I mean, these are gonna be old caps. Maybe the electrolytics, not so much, but like these things, aren't these made out of polymer or something like that? Aren't they okay to use? So if you have experience with this stuff, let me know. Also about these resistors, I have heard that these drift over time, like this exact type. So maybe I just test them before I put them into service if I need to. But yeah, here's electrolytics. This stuff's probably, well, these are low voltage ones as well. I suppose if I test it and it tests okay on my ESR meter, it's fine. And what's this? More resistors, and then these are like very high wattage resistors. So this is like 100 ohm, 200, 400, 800 ohm. That's pretty cool. I don't know where these came out of old TVs or something. Again, if you know if I can use these safely, please let me know. And then the last thing I wanted to look at, let's just move this stuff over here. I wanted to look at these diodes, or not diodes, at the LEDs, because that is neat. These are probably all old vintage LEDs. Photo transistors, okay, so those aren't LEDs. So check that out. Looks like a I don't think it's an 8-segment display. It's almost like a dot matrix display of some kind from Dialite. And is that the part number, I guess? We have an IR detector emitter pair, it says here. Infrared, that is. Pretty cool for early remote controls. IR photo transistors. Wait, those look like LEDs. Okay, I don't know. These are just, those are just bog standard LEDs. Now I recognize these. These are like the track 0 sensor from disk drives. So that's funny. They've been salvaged out of disk drives, I guess. But we can see in here things like vintage 7-segment display. Well, 7 plus 2 periods. And there's just a whole bunch of these old LEDs. And you can just kind of tell by the way these look. Well, that's a photoresistor there. The way that these orange and these red and these yellow ones look, they have like a dark coloring to them. And these are gonna be not bright at all. So if you have an old machine from like the 70s, these are probably 1970s LEDs. And they won't glow very brightly, but they'll have that very 70s look. Let's grab the multimeter and let's see if the diode check even turns these on. All right, well, this one here, that doesn't seem to work. Let's try a different one. I can barely see it. 1.86 volt diode drop on that yellow LED, or sorry, that was an orange one. Let's try one of these yellow ones here. The leads are very short, so it's not easy for me to test here. All right, 1.8 volts as well, and I can see it lighting up, but it is so dim. If I grab a modern LED, let's just do that. I'll grab a modern one. I'll show you the difference here. And we touch that, you can see that it's brightly lit. The diode drop 1.98 volts, but these other ones, they don't do it. Now I think this one here doesn't work. 13 volts? What? Maybe it's like infrared or something else? I'm not sure about that one. Let's try a red one. Here's a red one here. Let's pop that into the foam. I figure that's an easier way to hold it. Oh, look, that lights up. 1.9 volts as well, typical for the red. But unlike that other one that was brightly lit, this one is barely lit. You can see it just comes on though. I'm trying this orange one here. We're getting, yep, 1.8 volts. And yep, I can see it turning on, but just barely. That's funny. And then these track 0 sensor things here, let's see. 1.14 volts. I'm assuming that's like infrared or something like that. And here's a small red LED. Let's give that one a try. 1.6 volt drop. It's very deep red. Probably not showing up in the camera. It's not very bright, but it's very, very deep red. It's kind of a nice ruby color. This yellow LED here, kind of all over the place. There's a lot of corrosion on the legs. That's why I think it's not giving a very good reading there. 1.8 volts. Anyways, okay, that's enough testing of LEDs. They are old school. They're not super bright, but they work because they're LEDs. LEDs are very durable devices. It's pretty awesome. So I think I need to start organizing things a little bit. Maybe I'll get a little box to keep all these like vintage parts in so that when I need like a high voltage cap like this, I can look in there. I really don't have a stock of stuff like this. So the fact is that these are all sort of bagged up is actually really helpful. So there we go. So Charles, thank you very much for sending in all these vintage parts. I really appreciate it, especially all the 74LS Logic stuff, because if I'm working on a machine like the Southwest Technical Products Corporation PC from 1975, I want to put an old vintage chip in there if I need to replace something. If I have it, of course, and I just dropped a memory stick on the floor. So yes, thank you very much for this vintage stuff. Really appreciate it. Alrighty, let's keep the train going. We have something from Amazon here. So this would be like a drop ship item. I think there'll be a like gift note inside so we can see who it comes from. Oh, take a look at this. Unreasonably long screwdrivers. I freaking love it. That is great. And unfortunately, there's no gift note on the inside of the box. So I don't know exactly who this is from, but I think it might be, oh gosh, I can't remember who it was. Someone told me they were going to be sending something from Amazon, but I don't recall who. So let's see what we got here. I love this, so unreasonably long. Okay, long shaft. Yeah, you gotta love the long shaft. Everyone loves a long shaft. 3-piece screwdriver, 22¼ inch overall length for a hard to reach area. Phillips 2 and 3, and I think there's also a flathead as well. There they are, those are the 3 tips. And they have a lifetime warranty from Performance Tools. And look at those shafts. Oh yeah, so long. That is so great. You know, I'm sure there's been many a times I complained about a screw that I couldn't reach, like on the TRS-80 Model 2, I think, and maybe on the TRS-80 Model 4P as well. And generally, like the longest Phillips I have is this one. This is the longest one I have, and it is so not as long. So I think these extra long ones are going to be very helpful. Now, the funny thing is, I actually have one long screwdriver that is, I think, similar length to this. Let me grab it. And here it is. It's not nearly as long as those. This is a T15, and I guess it's 300 millimeters. I bought this for opening Macintoshes. It's very long, so it gets into the top handle area on the Mac. And yeah, you can get that screw in there because it's really tough. Pretty much every regular screwdriver does not fit in there. So you gotta use something like that. Let's crack these open. I gotta find something to cut this blister packaging open with, since this is that horrible, not easy to open stuff here. Okay, there we go. Ooh, yeah. Wow, that's yeah, this is a Phillips, what, number 3, I guess? Very big tip. Very long. That's very long. That is super awesome. Okay, I gotta cut the other side open. You know, whoever invented blister packaging, you kind of deserve a special place in a terrible place, because it's such a pain to open. It cuts you. It's just horrible. I get it's great for packaging in stores. You know, people can't steal it very easily, whatever. But it's just, what a pain. There's the handle up close, Performance Tools. It's hard plastic, but it's okay. It's a little, I don't know, there's a little bit of rough edges here from the original flashing. But there it is. That's that same Phillips tip as my other long screwdriver, which is hardly long at all. And then this one here will be the flathead, and it is indeed. So the unreasonably long screwdriver. I freaking love it. This is gonna come in handy. You know, not all the time, because it's so ridiculously long, but for those times when I need to get into somewhere that's hard to reach, something like this will be super invaluable, along with my Mac Cracker one here. And I got this from AliExpress, I think. It wasn't cheap though, it was not cheap, but I don't know why after all these Macs I've worked on, I've never had one of these. And you know the hilarious thing is, I haven't even used this because I haven't worked on any classic Macs in a while, but I will be soon. And I think then there'll be a use for this. So thank you very much to the mystery viewer who sent this in. I really appreciate it. I gotta say, super awesome. All right, let's do one more here before I end this video. I think it's kind of gone on long enough, and I know it's been kind of a random assortment of things. This, I think, is a shirt. I can, you know, it feels squishy, so it makes sense that it is a shirt. Let's try to open this up here. All right, yes, indeed, looks like a shirt. All right, obviously, this is a shirt from Ron over at Ron's Computer Videos. I'll put a link to his channel down in the description below. I had the privilege and honor of meeting Ron at VCF Midwest earlier this year, and what a wonderful man he is. So thank you very much, Ron, for sending me the shirt. I totally love it. And what's this? Another one, I think, of Ron's. And there it is. It's a Macintosh trash can that's full, and it's got Oscar in there. Oscar from Sesame Street, obviously an 8-bit pixelized, well, 16-bit pixelized version. Every Macintosh ever released was a 16-bit or greater machine, and an appropriate kind of green, trashy color. So yeah, thank you very much, Ron, for sending those in. I'll have to put a picture of Ron and myself at VCF in here, but I absolutely love it. I appreciate it, and yeah, don't forget to check out his channel. He focuses a lot on Macintosh-related stuff, and it's pretty cool. If you're into the vintage Mac scene, Ron's got plenty of videos worth watching. Okay, I said that was gonna be the last one, but since it was so quick, let's just do one more. This one has no name. The person sent it lives in East Lansing, Michigan. So hi to all my Michigan viewers. I need to figure out how to open this without damaging the contents. All right, whatever it is feels like it's over here on the left, so I'm gonna cut into it on the right over here. Alrighty, I have my hand in the bag on the item. I think that's it. We got a note and something inside of it. Ooh, what's this? Let's see what the note says. All right, the note comes from Ray, and it says, I hope this note finds you in rude health. I wanted to say hi at VCF Midwest this year, but you were pretty busy and I didn't want to lurk in the shadows. Yeah, I heard that from several people that wanted to talk to me, and there were a lot of folks there in line and whatever to talk to me. I mean, a line to talk to me? I don't even understand that, but if you were like Ray and you wanted to talk with me and you felt shy and because there was too many people, I do apologize. I will be at VCF in the future. I'll announce those plans when they're firmed up on the channel here. But yeah, so anyways, he says, sorry I missed a chance to say hi and thanks. Your many videos where you desolder chips have taught me how to stop lifting pads on those boards. Included is a 3D printable IC leg straightener. This is not my design, but it has saved my bacon quite a bit. You may have seen or used this before, but if you've not, here you go. Hope it serves you well. And there is an URL to it there, the Ultimate Dip Bender IC Leg Straightener Thingiverse. I will put that in the description below. There it is. Oh wow, that's cool. So obviously, wow, I mean, it really prints like that. It's got a spring action. I love it. So the one side here is for the narrow pins, and then this one is for the wider ones. Let me just grab a random chip over here. So here's an EPROM. So we pop that in and you would just squeeze it. Now the one thing these leg straighteners don't do is if the pins are bent like this way and that way, you know, as opposed to basically being bent out like that. See, I just bent those ones outward. If we put that in here, theoretically should fix that. And it did, yeah. So now those legs are straight. But if the legs are crooked this way, this isn't gonna do anything. Now, I regularly use something on the channel like this, which is a commercial version of this, sent in by a viewer. Now, the funny thing is with this one, this commercial one, is on the sides, and I know it's hard to see, it's got this like gap there, and it actually kind of hurts your hand when you squeeze it. I'm not sure who makes this. It doesn't even have any branding on it at all. But if you look for leg straightener on eBay or whatever, or Amazon, you'll find these. But it just kind of hurts because it's got this gap there. This one, on the other hand, is nice and smooth. So it feels really nice to squeeze. And it did the trick. It did the deed. So if you have a 3D printer and you don't feel like buying one of these, I don't know how much these cost. If you don't feel like buying one, print this. This is a lifesaver. It makes getting chips in so much easier. That whole like putting them on the desk and like bending the legs, that's just silliness when you can have something like this or even just buy something like this. Highly, highly recommend it. So yeah, Ray, thank you very much for sending this in. And I'm sorry I didn't get to meet you at VCF, and hopefully at a future meetup, you'll get to say hi like you wanted to this year. So that is gonna be it for this Super Mini Mail Call. Thank you very much, Charles, for all the vintage ICs and all these other vintage components. Thanks, Ron, for the awesome t-shirts. Thank you, Ray, for the cool chip leg straightener, and sorry I couldn't say hi. And thank you to the mystery viewer who sent in these unreasonably long but awesome screwdrivers. It's gonna be fun next time I break out the long screwdrivers on a video. People are gonna be like, what the heck is that all about? I'm gonna have to do that. So thanks everyone for sending this stuff in. Awesome stuff. And that is gonna be it for this video. So thumbs up if you liked it. Thanks to the patrons, their names are over here. And you know, the usual YouTube stuff, subscribe, etc., etc., etc. Comment down below, all those good things. So that's it. Stay healthy, stay safe. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.